family. I'm Krista.
And I'm Jamie.
And we're the Morbid Makers. Today we are going to do what I explained in our mini Morbid, which is these beautiful Valentine hearts to go along with our morbid tale of the Lonely Heart Killers. So we're going to set up over here and we'll show you what we're doing and talk about our tale. Alright, our tale starts with Raymond Martinez Fernandez. He wasn't always a killer. As an adult, he lived in Spain with a wife and 4 kids. He served in World War II for the British intelligence, but after his service, he left Spain on a ship bound for America looking for work. Soon after, he sustained a head injury that damaged his frontal lobe, and Raymond was never the same after that.
Raymond's behavior changed, and he became a petty thief in America.
But not a very good one.
Nope, he was caught after his first time. He stole some clothing and was imprisoned. During this time, he learned to do voodoo and black magic from his cellmates. He came to believe that if he could make himself irresistible to women by performing black magic or voodoo on them.
But the real reason he was able to seduce these women was because he courted older women who were widows or never married. He would answer these women's personal ads in the Lonely Heart Club. These women were looking for love, and he was happy to take advantage of that. He would wine and dine them, gaining their trust. Then he would steal their money and their possessions.
He even brought one woman, Jan Lucille Thompson, back to Spain with him so he could see his wife and kids while he was scamming the woman. The woman died in Spain under suspicious circumstances.
Oh, man. After her death, Raymond forged her will and took possession of her apartment and her belongings.
He was never charged for the woman's murder, but I think he may have killed her.
Yeah, me too. But he didn't stop there. There were many other women posting personal ads in the Lonely Heart Club. His next victim was Martha Beck. Martha was a younger woman who lived in Florida with her 2 children, which she had out of wedlock. She was also known as being insecure and having a violent temper. She decided to join the Lonely Hearts Club in 1947 in hopes of finding her true love. Raymond was the first person to respond to her. They corresponded for a little via letters, and Martha even sent Raymond a lock of her hair.
So let me guess, so he could perform voodoo on her.
Yep. And when he met Martha in Florida, she fell head over heels for him. He may say that was his voodoo, but in reality, Martha was an insecure woman with 2 children and no job. So I'm thinking that was really why. Raymond did go with intentions to rob her of her possessions, like the other women, but he began falling in love with Martha too.
Crazy attracts crazy, because before he had to leave back to New York, he told Martha why he was part of the Lonely Hearts Club. Instead of her running the other way, she decided to help him.
And if that wasn't crazy enough, she dropped her 2 kids off at the Salvation Army before moving with him to New York so she could devote all her time to him.
Mother of the Year, right?
I know.
This is the beginning of the Lonely Heart Killers. For the next 2 years, Martha and Raymond posed as brother and sister, going by the names Charles and Martha, in order for Raymond to gain the trust of these women and move into their homes.
Yeah, and that was the perfect cover, since it was the 40s, and it was scandalous for men and women to live together out of wedlock.
Right, and since Martha was posing as his sister, she was the chaperone, stopping people from looking too close.
Their first victim together was Esther Henney. Sorry, I'm horrible with names. Raymond married the school teacher, and Martha posed as his sister-in-law. They conned her out of her money, but she got out in February 1948 before the pair could murder her.
Then there was Myrtle Young from Arkansas. Raymond married her and went on a honeymoon in Chicago. With Martha, Myrtle did not want to share her honeymoon with her sister, so she got into an argument with Raymond. It was believed that Raymond then poisoned her and sent her back to Arkansas, where she died in hospital of brain hemorrhage.
Yeah, even though they can't prove that he killed her, I do think he did. They then met 66-year-old Janet Fay of Albany, New York in 1949. Janet moved in to Ray's apartment quickly, and even though she trusted him, Janet's daughter, Mary, did not.
I wouldn't trust my mother moved in with some randoms either.
Me neither. And soon after she moved in, she withdrew a lot of money from her bank for Raymond. Now remember, I mentioned that Martha had a temper, right?
Yeah.
Well, she did not want Raymond and the women to consummate their fake marriages. Raymond did not follow this rule with Janet. Martha found the two in bed together, grabbed a ball-peen hammer, and started bashing Janet's head in. Then Raymond finished the job by strangling Janet. They then dragged her to the trunk of the car to bury her in the basement of a house they rented in Queens, New York.
Even though this killer couple already took this woman's life, they wanted more. They typed a letter to Mary, Janet's daughter, telling her she is so in love and she married Raymond, and they were moving to Florida. The letter wanted Mary to write a letter to American Express Company and have her assets sent to an address in Florida.
But Mary knew this letter wasn't from Janet. Janet didn't know how to type. Mary went straight to the police. The police did look into it quickly and saw Janet's house was sold and her bank account was empty. The police went to question the couple, but they were nowhere to be found.
That's because Raymond was always on another woman from the Lonely Hearts Club lined up. Raymond and Martha was living already with another woman in Michigan. They were living with Delphine Downey and her 2-year-old daughter, Raynell. Delphine was suspicious of the pair and was hesitant to marry Raymond or give him any money. Delphine and Raymond got into an argument about her suspicions, and Raymond gave her sleeping pills. While Delphine was passed out, Raynell wouldn't stop crying, so Martha, with all her motherly instincts, began strangling the baby. She didn't kill her, and Raymond thought Delphine would become more suspicious, so Raymond did what any normal person would do and shot Delphine.
Yeah, normal. That's how you solve all your problems, right? Martha and Raymond buried Delphine in her basement. 2 days later, because Raynell wouldn't eat, Martha drowned the child in a basin of water. They then buried Raynell next to her mother in the basement. That same day, Delphine's neighbors, noticing Delphine's absence, called the police to report her missing.
Sounds like our neighborhood. We are so nosy.
So nosy.
People know everybody's business, though it's not hard when a lot of them just announce it.
So true. Some of our neighbors do not know how to keep them secrets to themselves.
Yes.
But the police got to Delphine's home while Raymond and Martha were still there. The couple let them in and told the police that Delphine was selling the house to them, and she moved to California, but they didn't buy it. So after a quick search, they found the still drying graves of the mother and daughter. Raymond and Martha were arrested on the spot, and they found $4,000 in a list of women's names in Raymond's pocket.
The listed names were thought to be either victims or targets, as there were check marks next to them. Raymond and Martha confessed to everything, including 17 other murders throughout the country. Thinking they would be prosecuted in Michigan, which didn't have the death penalty.
Yeah, but they were so wrong. They were extradited back to New York, where they were convicted of the murder of Janet Fay and sentenced to death. After sentencing, Raymond retracted the 17 other murders, saying he only said this to keep them from being prosecuted in New York. It still remains a mystery if they murdered more than 3 police found, but they both went to a gas chamber on March 8, 1951, with Raymond going first, then Martha. Their last words were even expressions of the love that they had for each other. Raymond's last words were, "I want to shout it out, I love Martha. What do the public know about love?" And Martha was, "My story is a love story, but only those tortured by love can know what I mean. I'm not unfeeling, stupid, or moronic. I'm a woman who has great love and always will have it. Imprisonment in the death house has only strengthened my feelings for Raymond more." And even though the stories about the lonely heart killers, we don't want to forget about the victims who took a chance on love, looking to give their hearts, only to have their lives taken. I want to reiterate and mention and dedicate this craft to the victims. So I want to restate their names, which is Esther Henny, Myrtle Young, Janet Fay, Delphine Danny Downey, and Raynell Downey. Also to all the victims that got away but were too embarrassed to report it. I also want to mention, never be afraid to report, guys.
Yes.
It's never the victim's fault that they were taken advantage of. It just takes one person to speak up to potentially stop the victimizer.
Very true.
So.
And even though this happened a long time ago, it still happens today.
Yep.
As they call catfish now.
Yep, exactly. So then people they just use the internet now.
Yeah.
Which is, it's crazy. Crazy to me. But as you can see, our little hearts are being made.
Yes.
We added, like I've already added a little bit of fairy lights to mine. I'm going to add, let's see if I have enough rope to add some rope. Make it pretty. Like I said in the little mini Morbid, it's always good, you know, you can add whatever you want to it, you can leave it as is. It doesn't matter, it's really your own creativity. We just kind of wanted to show you that, you know, how to cut the stuff off the heart, start wrapping things up, and getting it together. Really, really simple project. And, you know, I love simplicity.
Yes.
And big fan of cheap stuff, and all this stuff is pretty much from the Dollar Tree.
Yes.
Like I said, you could find the twine from the Dollar Tree, but
it's the thin one. And if you notice, hers is the
thicker one.
Thicker one. So this is the Dollar Tree twine, which is really thin. And taking a lot more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It might just take a little bit more to do it. I think I like this, so I'm going to get this going. So, but speaking of hearts, how crazy was that lonely heart story?
Very crazy. Because
especially since Raymond grew up pretty normal.
Yeah.
He wasn't, you know, he grew up, he served in the military. There was no mention in any of the research that I did about him having anything prior, except for a little bit of like petty theft in his teenage years. But I mean, it's teenage stuff. It's crazy to show you what a frontal lobe injury can do to somebody.
Yeah.
What else is crazy to me is Martha, who just left her children.
Left her children.
I want to pretend that she thought maybe they'd be better off because, like, she was jobless at the time.
Yeah.
But no, she was purely being selfish.
Oh yes. But a lot of people are blinded with craziness when it comes to love.
That is so true.
Especially when they don't feel loved or desired. It's a shame. So this hot glue works really good. And I'm thinking, because I usually sometimes buy the glitter hot glue, even like glitter hot glue around.
That would be cute.
Or a silver.
Yes, I like it. And you don't have to stick to rope. You don't even have to do like the this color twine. There's like different color ribbons, different color yarn that you can use. And I don't know about you guys, probably not, but in Louisiana there are always leftover Mardi Gras beads that you can incorporate things into.
Yes, so many different things you can do with this.
That's another thing I like about it. It's very versatile.
Yes. And it's also kid-friendly.
Yes, if you have little kiddos and you're bored, because, you know, everybody's stuck at home. I'm not going to lie, I don't know if schools are open back up or not. I homeschool my son this year, so I'm not sure if they're back full-time. But if they are not, this gives them something to do for their art classes.
Yes.
Gets them off those video games from out in front of TV, because I don't know, my son, he could watch YouTube all day. He'd watch YouTube of this instead of doing something if I allowed him.
Yep, and TikTok.
I'm not gonna lie, Kyle.
But I'm guilty of it too.
So, it's always good to have something on the back burner.
Yes.
When your kids get a little bored or you're done with the screen time for the day. think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to finish it with this.
Okay.
And maybe if I do want to add some more, just post on our Facebook page, like our finished products. But I really, really want to thank you guys for watching our very first Morbid Makers and our little Morbid tails. And if you like the craft and the tail, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you have any suggestions on tails you'd like to hear,
yes, leave in the comments.
Please do.
And we'll see you in the next video.
Until next time, guys, stay weird.
Bye.